If you took a look at me, would you guess that there's anything wrong with me? I look normal. There's nothing obvious to suggest that I am battling an illness that affects thousands in Britain and something that 83% of teachers have experienced. The issues are simple. If I have a broken arm, put me in a cast. If I have the flu, I'll have a bit of a bed rest. If I have a burn, I'll dress it until it heals. But my issue is all in my head. Or is it? Part of our job as teachers is to identify issues that children in our care have, and we do our best to help them in order to enhance their education. But what about the educators? Who is there to diagnose them if they don't know what's wrong with them? More importantly, how do we help them and support them if they need help? This is mental health. This is still a taboo subject in 21st century Britain. Those who suffer from it often feel like a pariah, ashamed, embarrassed, an outcast from friends and colleagues. Those who don't even suffer from it, even the highly educated, show an ignorance about mental health and make up their own opinions. Some don't even think it's a real illness. Some think it's made up. Some choose to sweep it under the rug and dismiss it as insignificant, which to the sufferer in a social or workplace can be heartbreaking and totally demoralising. As an experienced teacher of 8 years, since coming out I have heard myself being referred to as a loose cannon, Fruit Loop and basket case. Are these people my enemies? No. These are people I once classed as friends, yet it's the people that have given me the mantle to take everything on the chin so I can help teachers and educators who feel they have nowhere to turn. I suffer from bipolar disorder. It's an illness which so many are so poorly educated about. Yet those who know and suffer from the disorder know that it is a devastating condition in which even the basic parts of a daily routine can be a desperate struggle, and coping with that can be such a demanding job, such as teaching, is almost miraculous. I was initially diagnosed with depression in 2011. My sleep pattern was destroyed. The constant feeling of being useless, worthless, and having such contempt for my life was horrendous, and constant belief that I would be better off dead was so consuming that anything I used to find remotely pleasurable in my life was overshadowed. But after medication and support from my friends and family, I got over the worst of it. Back then, I thought I could pinpoint why that had happened to me. Throughout my life, in my teen years to mid-20s, I went through a painful divorce with my parents, homelessness, being a teenage parent, being separated from my baby daughter for 3 years so I could obtain my teaching degree. Self-harm, and struggling for money, and to find a permanent job, plus losing 3 of my grandparents. It's perhaps easy to agree why I had a nervous breakdown. Fast forward to last year. My life circumstances were near perfect. I had a job which I loved, a house, 2 beautiful children, money in the bank and a future. I wasn't under any more stress in work or pressure. So why did I have a meltdown 100 times worse? Mental health isn't down to circumstance, whether you have millions in the bank, a massive house, the perfect life, or you have nothing in your life. Mental illness doesn't discriminate. Last year I was going through extreme high periods where I would become hyperactive, spend lots of money on stupid things just to make myself feel better. I was in bed sleeping 2 hours a night, then still having lots of energy. I felt I was this genius who was excellent at everything and I could rule the world if I wanted to. I tried making grand plans, then sunk like a stone if they didn't happen. And if I was teaching or if I was in any room, all eyes were on me. Then came the lows. The feelings of sadness to the point I was crying in my classroom for no reason. I felt everyone in work was against me, and I was paranoid there was a plot to get me out. I was irritable with my loved ones and put them at arm's length. I would sob uncontrollably for no reason. Sleep didn't exist anymore. My appetite either evaporated or flourished, and my weight went up and down. In the classroom, I couldn't concentrate on the smallest thing. Marking became difficult, staff meetings were impossible to stay focused, interviews were impossible and costly. The anxiety that I thought I was a bad teacher took over my life, and I felt there was nothing to tell me otherwise. The things I loved doing in school, like music and sport, became examples of something I was once good at and failed in. And worst, the strong suicidal thoughts. Every day I spent fighting with myself. Half of me saying things would be okay, the other half telling me I should die. I was a pointless human on earth. I attempted suicide, yet the next day went in like nothing happened. Pretty heavy, yeah? Welcome to mental health. How many hear this and think I'm a bad teacher who doesn't deserve to teach? And how many realise this and hear it and realised that I had a serious illness, the results of that survey would be staggering. The fortunate thing was I knew I needed help, and I took 7 weeks off to rehab myself and try to look for a way forward. It saved my life. Being diagnosed with bipolar disorder isn't as straightforward as it sounds. Doctors need to work out which strand you suffer from and try different medication to suit you. Only this week the doctor was satisfied which type I had, and this week I try a different type of medication to help me, as I've spent all year going up and down on my medication. Work told me to come back when I was ready, but I came back in truth a lot earlier than I should have. I love my job, and I felt not being with my class actually made me feel worse. When I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I was so deeply ashamed of my behaviour and illness, it set me on another spiral downwards. My union were helpful, but even they didn't know what I should do. I didn't want to tell my head teacher for many reasons, but the main one was I was ashamed. I thought people would think I was a mental teacher, and if parents found out, they wouldn't want their child taught by me. I knew I had to mention it eventually, as the thought of lying to people about why I was off was stressful in itself. A trusted friend of mine informed the head, and he informed staff at the meeting. I was relieved, but also terrified of the thought of going back. Since going back, most have been fine, but some have changed. They don't know how to be around me. They avoid eye contact and ignore me at times. People I thought were friends don't know how to react to me. It's not their fault. Truth is, people are scared of mental health. They don't know enough about it. If I had the flu, shingles, or a broken limb, conversation would be easy and they could talk to me like normal. But mental health is so poorly explained, people are just scared to acknowledge it. I don't mind sharing what I have today. It is a frank and honest account of what some of my experiences are. I will answer anything anyone asks me about bipolar, or what I've been through, because mental health shouldn't be shied away. As for support in schools, I'm not knocking our schools, but they reflect what society is to mental health. Simply, they don't know how to support those with it for the best. There has to be a clearer understanding of mental health in schools for children and adults. We have plenty of training to support children with dyslexia and other disorders, but there needs to be awareness made. I will take the baton, and my ultimate achievement, hopefully not a bipolar unattainable plan, is to educate schools and children about mental health all over the country and break down the stigma of mental health everywhere. I have started by setting up SMILE, supporting mental illness for lecturers and educators, as a starting point for professionals to share their experiences and know that they are not alone. I am hoping it will be a platform to help the thousands of sufferers out there and let them work as the brilliant teachers they are without fear of reprisal of such a cruel illness. Thank you for listening.